A year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a new killer, who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. This is from the 1996 movie Scream. Warning: spoilers and creepy content ahead. The film opens with young Casey Becker receiving phone calls from an unidentified caller. At first it seems as if he has gotten a wrong number, but it soon becomes clear he is toying with her, and his voice gets more and more threatening. Casey becomes frightened when she realizes her caller can see her. She begins to panic when the caller threatens to kill her, and forces her to answer movie trivia in exchange for her life and the life of her boyfriend, Steve, who she sees tied up on her back patio. After killing Steve, the caller torments Casey until finally breaking into the house and chasing her. He is dressed in a black costume with a white ghost mask over his face. He chases her across her lawn just as her parents pull up into the driveway. They do not see her, and Casey is stabbed in the chest, unable to scream. After killing Casey, the murderer strings up her body in the backyard for the parents to discover. We then meet Sydney Prescott and her boyfriend Billy Loomis. We learn that Sydney's mother was killed almost 1 year before, and that Sydney and her father are alone. Sydney's testimony identified Cotton Weary as the killer, although Cotton swears that he is innocent. The next day, Sydney's school is abuzz with news of the murder, and classes are temporarily cancelled. Sydney decides that since her father is gone and she is alone, she is going to stay with her best friend Tatum. Sydney, Tatum, and Billy sit with their group of friends, which includes Randy, who is obsessed with horror movies, and Stu, a class clown type who used to date Casey Becker. Sydney goes home to wait for Tatum to pick her up. The phone rings and she hears a strange voice, the same one that was on the phone with Casey. At first she thinks it is Randy joking around, but the caller turns abusive and brings up Sydney's mother. "Do you want to die, Sydney? Your mother sure did." The killer emerges from a closet in Sydney's house and a chase starts throughout the house, and Sydney locks herself in her bedroom and dials 911. Then Billy arrives, climbing through Sydney's window again, and a cell phone falls out of his pocket. Sydney realizes that it may have been him phoning her, and she runs downstairs and out of the house only to be greeted by the police. She is taken to the police station along with Billy, where he is questioned. At the police station, Sydney meets Dewey, Tatum's older brother and the town deputy, who is considered adult. Outside the police station, she is confronted by nosy reporter Gail Weathers, the writer of an expose about the murder of Sydney's mother. Gail feels that Cotton Weary was wrongfully convicted, and now Gail is following up a story about the murder of Casey Becker. She feels the murders are connected. Tatum takes Sydney to her house, where she receives another phone call from the killer, who tells her you got the wrong guy, Sydney, again. The next day at school, Sydney is threatened by the killer while she is in the bathroom, but she escapes. School is over and a curfew is in place, so the group of friends decide to throw a party. Gail Weathers takes a cameraman to the party in an attempt to talk to Sydney, but Dewey intercepts her. The two of them talk and seem to have a mutual affection for one another. They enter the party and Dewey chooses not to bust the partygoers for underage drinking. During the party, Billy and Sydney go upstairs and Sydney has sex with him. Meanwhile, Tatum is murdered in the garage by the killer, who has infiltrated the party after all. After the interlude between Sydney and Billy, the door opens and in walks the killer, who stabs Billy in the back. Another chase starts. Dewey is stabbed. Gail, in her Newsman, swerves to avoid hitting Sydney and runs her car down a hill, striking a tree and appearing to be killed. Sydney ends up in the house facing Randy and Stu, both claiming the other is the killer. Stu is vying to come inside and obtain the gun, while Randy wants to leave. Eventually Billy stumbles down the stairs, bloodied, and lets Randy and Stu into the house, shooting Randy and turning to reveal that the blood is fake. Billy was only pretending to be stabbed. He was aided by his accomplice, Stu. Both of them are the killers. Billy also reveals that he was responsible for killing Sydney's mother, who had an affair with his father. Billy blamed Mrs. Prescott for the dissolution of his parents' marriage, and murdered Mrs. Prescott out of revenge. Billy and Stu also reveal that they have kidnapped Mr. Prescott, who is tied up in a closet. They have framed Mr. Prescott for the murders, and intend to wound themselves to make it look as if Mr. Prescott attacked them, at which point they will kill both him and Sydney. Billy and Stu inflict flesh wounds on one another with a knife, but they are interrupted by Gail Weathers, who returns, armed with Dewey's gun. Gail forgets to switch off the gun's safety, and a struggle ensues. Sydney strikes back at her tormentors, killing Stu with a television and shooting Billy in the head with the gun. Dewey is revealed to be alive, as is Randy. All ends well as Gail reports that the Mache house has been the scene of what seemed to be some real-life scary movie.